Okay. Okay, so now that we are in business as of 8:02, we are using Zoom for this meeting, which allows for the public to participate in the meeting as an attendee. The chair can request that members of the public provide their names for purposes of keeping accurate minutes of the meeting. Attendees must register to participate. The registration link is unique to the meeting. The registration link can be found in the description of the Nantucket Government TV YouTube live feed for the meeting. Attendees will join in the listening mode. They can click and raise their hand button if they wish to speak. The chair will call on those who have raised their hands in the order they are raised. All questions should be directed through the chair. As a preliminary matter, this is David Sharp, the Visitor Services Coordinator. Permit me to confirm all the members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Malves.
Here.
Liz Holland.
Here.
Peter Morrison.
Here.
Garrison Beal.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Chantal Blois Murphy.
Here.
David Sharp. Here. And so this meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting of the Visitor Services Advisory Committee is convening by video conference by a Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the by the recording. Meeting materials, all supporting materials have been provided to the members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item of the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold on until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please, excuse me, I gotta get David in here. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and to state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in the conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, after each vote is taken in this meeting, the meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. We also have public comment on the agenda protocol. I won't get too far detail into that, but we have a section of the agenda protocol at the beginning of the meeting where the public is invited to speak if they want, and all remarks will be addressed through the chair of the meeting. And all speakers are encouraged to present their remarks in an orderly and peaceable manner without disruption to other speakers. So that's basically it from me. Madam Chair, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, David. I see that David Gray has joined us. Thank you. We're going to go through one agenda item, David, and then we'll go to your discussion while you're here. First item of business is the approval of the September 10th minutes. Everyone would have received them in the packet that was emailed by David. Are there any changes to the minutes that anyone would like to note? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion. Can I have a motion from someone to approve as written?
So moved by Peter.
Peter, second.
Seconded by
Garrison. Thanks, Garrison. All in favor by roll call. I will abstain from these just because I had to leave halfway through. But obviously I believe they're written in accurate detail since none of you noticed any changes. So Liz Holland, you're muted, but I think I saw affirmative. Thank you.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. Peter Morrison,
Yes.
Garrison Beal.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you. We will note that the minutes were approved, and David, you may put them in the records. Okay. Moving along, the next item on the agenda is to have a chat with David Gray. Thank you, David. We've known each other for a number of years, and we totally appreciate the effort that you have put forward for this town for years and years and years. Even though you're not that old, you have just kept us, alive and well during some interesting times and bad storms. I thank you for being here. I think the purpose of visitor services, which I'm sure you're aware of, is to obviously help the visiting public. I think our mission is to find out any way from town departments that we might assist you in your efforts to make the public either more aware through education or whatever that you feel is a need and information that we should get out there. At least that's always been my personal belief. So David, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Mary. I don't know where you would like me to start. I'm unable to open up the agenda that you guys had, but
it just says a conversation with David Gray, Senior,
okay.
Director of the Sewer Department. So that is your agenda item.
Okay. Well, why don't I start with some of our projects that are ongoing, just so that everyone's kind of up to speed. We did have our second and third crews show up this week to continue on the force main project. We have one crew on Pine Street headed towards Silver Street. And then we have another crew that's just getting started up at Liberty and Gardner Street, heading towards Pine Street. We hope to get all the heavy duty construction completed this winter with all the force mains installed and new sewers, new waters, new storm water. We're getting into a real tricky area right now because it's small. We did just find a fire cistern last week that was not documented anywhere up on Pine Street. We did document it the best we could. Unfortunately, it had to be destroyed and filled in as our water main went right through the middle of it. We also have a 3-year program going on. Well, actually, we're in our 5th year this year. It's called CMOM, which is a capacity maintenance operations maintenance management program, where we go in and CCTV the entire island, all the sewer mains, and then we go in and get a report from our consultants, scored 1 to 5, and then we put in a plan for replacement, repair, or lining, etc. That's been ongoing now for years. It's been extremely successful. One project that we did downtown, we took out about 235,000 gallons extra a day that was inflow coming into the system. So almost 250,000 gallons there coming into the pump station at C Street that now has been removed. Another thing that's gone on with this department is now we also handle all stormwater on the island. We have a new stormwater manager, Charles Johnson, that was our engineer here for the department. And he moved over to that position. And if we think the sewers are old, the stormwater system is about 25 to 30 years older. And it goes every which way it could back in the day when there was no buildings. And with all the building and construction that's ongoing and that has gone on, we found a lot of old stormwater mains crossing private property that nobody really knew was there, or there was never any easements for it. So that's been quite a challenge. I could talk all day on this topic. We do host one thing that I get a real enjoyment out of is we do host tours out here all the time. We have had the Salt Marsh Center send a couple of groups come down. All the camps usually come out, the schools, and it's really it's fascinating on some of the kids, some of the questions that they have, and usually at the end of it, they usually send a thank you card or whatever. They all draw pictures of the process, and some of these kids, I want them to come to work for me now. I mean, it's pretty. They can certainly draw better than I can, and the senior groups that we've had come through they're a real treat, and they always have a lot of good questions. I always try to see if there's any retired engineers amongst the group so that we can hire an engineer. We're looking for an engineer at the department. So, I mean, that's really kind of about it, except for erosion, which is a big concern right now for us out here. And believe it or not, with Hurricane Kirk, which is like 700 or 800 miles off the island to the north, we were seeing 10-foot swells coming in yesterday, and there's no beach right now left on the South Shore. It pretty much ate everything up here the last couple of days. So we keep a keen eye to that all the time. And if anyone has any questions,
I have a question. Is with the storms that have been approaching from the south, how is the whole Surfside and sewer bed area going to survive?
well, I'm hoping that we have all nor'east storms this winter.
Yeah.
That has been an unusual trend over the past, I guess, say maybe 8 years, where the nor'easters just don't seem to materialize, and we get these southeast, southwest storms in the winter, and they just sit here for days. And that's what has been done. That's what's done the most damage out here. Over the last few years, we've lost over 190 feet out front. We constantly keep getting it surveyed just to keep an eye on what's going on. Yesterday when I was down there, I think the fence is 30 feet away to the beach, and the waves were coming up all over the beach. So we keep a keen eye on that. We did fill one bed last year as an emergency protection to try to, I know we're not going to stop Mother Nature. I needed to slow her down a little bit so that, because if it had breached that bed, the beach elevation and the bed base elevation is the same, and it would have had free access into the plant. So we filled that on an emergency. And that bed is the closest one currently that we keep an eye on. Another exciting thing that we have out here, which a lot of people don't know, is we actually have NOAA is on site here. Woods Hole Oceanographic is on site. University of Michigan, I think, is the other group that's out here, and they all have some really, really fancy electronics, radar systems. They can take and scan winds up to 35,000 plus feet with really, really powerful radar systems. They can check the molecules in the air and the density of the air down to the pixel, the way they described it to me. And all these groups are actually, they had a license with the town, and they're providing the town with this data, which is extremely valuable to us and coastal resiliency folks. So it's exciting to see what's going on out here. And I'm an electronics geek anyway, so it's always neat to see what's going on.
I think that's interesting. I wasn't aware that NOAA, had systems out there. So I think their assistance is invaluable in building data. The things that we need to do. The reason I asked about South Shore is I think we've all seen the changes in, Surfside Beach area after last winter, and having to put extra stairs and, and things like that. Now, maybe this year hopefully it'll build up, like you said, wishful thinking.
I hope. I
yeah.
hope. So,
Anyone have any other questions for David? I will add one thing, Peter, that I do like the fact that we now have a great site to get road closure information. I get an email from the town now saying what's going to be closed and when and what's going on. It's just kind of helpful, especially when two roads you're going to be on are closed at the same time. I mean, there's other routes.
Huge challenge. And coming up here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be reclaiming all of Surfside Road, and that is a traffic nightmare with the school to try to keep that flow going. So,
yeah, but obviously, I think we know your projects are necessary, and we only have a certain window of time to deal with it. So it's nothing that can be done in the summertime. Peter, you had a question for David?
Yeah, David, I wonder, and I'm suggesting that you document as much as you can photographically what's going on here, because I'm starting to think there's a great story here in N Magazine to be written by Jason Graziadei sometime maybe in the next year or so. I never realized how fascinating all this was in terms of the historical remnants and what you discover and things that have worked their way, through the town and under other people's property. It's kind of reminiscent of a gigantic colonoscopy into history. And, there's just a whole lot of documentation photographically that would make for a great story. And I'm just kind of blown away by what I've heard.
Oh, thank you, Peter. It has been fascinating. I mean, the sewer system is 100 years old. The stormwater system is about 135 years old. And last year on Liberty Street by the intersection of India and everything, we actually found a still active cobblestone culvert system that was still active on the stormwater in that area. We took a lot of pictures of it. I actually had taken a section of it. It didn't stay together, but we have it on a pallet that some beautiful slate and cobblestones. And I mean, if anyone's familiar with Liberty Street over by where Marsha Fader lives and stuff like that, she has a gigantic stormwater system that flows through her back property there, with her pond and everything. It goes across 3 other properties before it gets to the lily pond. And that's been one of our biggest challenges is we understand why they did what they did 130 years ago. Everything flows downhill, so they followed that direction. Well, with growth and everything else, there's areas up in Capon Pond that I know were ponds and wetlands back when I was a kid, now have houses with full basements. So it's changed, and it is a huge look into history.
Fascinating. I mean, to know that that's all underground and we're walking around. I noticed Brant Point area, of course, with a lot of the building that has gone on over the past, say, 25 years. Obviously there seems to be, more flooding down there just because there's no place for the water to run off to the beach.
Exactly.
So it has to go somewhere so it stays stagnant.
That's a big challenge for us. Eastern Street has become a huge challenge for us.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see as the storms move forward how the land bank's new little water park, is effective on Easton and North Beach. because that's supposed to help with that intersection. So, we'll see how, now that it's finished, let's see how that goes this winter. Peter?
You're muted, Pete.
Just to tie the ribbons on this, one suggestion I would make is that we make mention of this to Niles as a possible story that might make sense, for a public part of what's shown, to people who want to know about Nantucket history. And I think it certainly warrants, having somebody document this for that purpose going forward. And I'd be happy to, take the lead on it if Niles wants to consider doing something like that, and getting something written up and documented. It's a terrific historical story.
Yeah. I have one more question for David. If indeed, is there anything that we could do in terms of publicity or guidelines or helpful hints to visitors to make your life easier? Because I think we've done a pretty good job, recycling things and trying to, get that message across, since I can't believe, but I know that some of our visitors come from areas that don't recycle anything. So is there anything that we could, get out in terms of the information we give to visitors?
Yeah, the two ones that hit home really hard to us is the wipes. We've had a little bit of a poster type thing we've tried to get out there before. I can send something to Dave or whatever that can maybe get out into handouts that, don't flush the wipes, no wipes in the pipes. That's our biggest problem when we have backups. The wipes, they don't break down like they say they're flushable. Oh yeah, they flush great. They just don't go where they're supposed to go. And all it takes is one small root or a sharp piece of pipe catches one, and then they all start to build up. And that's creates blockages that we deal with all the time. And we take probably 2,500 to 4,000 pounds of wipes and stuff out every week out of the system with our screening and everything. And the other big issue that we really deal with a lot is fats, oils, and grease. I mean, downtown with all the restaurants, they don't have the footprint to be able to put the new industrial grease interceptors outside. They just don't have the footprint. So we try to promote interior grease traps and newer, more modern technology grease interceptors to try to slow down the grease issues in town. I mean, most of those restaurants are in buildings that are over 100 years old or 100 years old. So they just don't have that ability to, handle all that grease that comes from their process. And you said, people come here from all around the world, and culturally we can tell where certain people live because of the amounts of grease in the area. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's how they were raised or where they come from. And over, especially in European, European, Russia area, that they were used to scraping their dishes and flushing everything down the toilet because they didn't want the vermin. They didn't want the rats and mice and everything else like that. So it was how they were raised. It's not by any fault. It's just different when you come over here. So, but like I said, I could go on and on and on, and I don't want to hold up Dave's whole day here. So
yeah, well, I think that's helpful. I had no idea the amount of wipes that are taken out weekly. I mean, I think that's an eye opener for all of us, and we should get the message to Stop and Shop and other stores too. Anyway, David.
Now, I was going to say, Chantal, I think you had a question, didn't you?
Yes, I have a few.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand in the shadow.
No worries. Morning, David.
Morning, Chantal.
I'm just wondering, with the project to redo Surfside Road, do you know how long that'll take? Just
what we're
about
trying to
traffic
do is
disruption.
what we want to do is we want to try to do it in sections to try to cause the least amount of disruption. The plan is, as of right now, is we're going to do from Sparks Ave to First Way. That's going to be the first section. We're going to go in, completely reclaim it, regrade it, reprofile it. And in front of the high school, a lot of folks don't know, is where that rumble strip was, where the Belgian blocks used to be. That's going away, and there's now going to be curbing there, raised curbing. As part of the Safe Streets or Safe Pathways to School program, we're working very closely with Mike Burns on that. So that whole area there is going to have, it's going to look different because it's going to have curbing there instead of the rumble sticks, rumble blocks that were there. So we're hoping to be able to, reclamation should go pretty quickly. Then it's just a matter of fine tuning everything and then getting Victor in. So we're hoping a few days per section as we go along, but that's subject to change.
Of course. And then I know over by the Veranda House area, just thinking about downtown in the historic and cultural district, that you guys have some work planned that might get a little disruptive. I'm just curious, do you know, obviously you don't have a choice, it has to get done. But do you know when that work is supposed to happen as of now? Again,
It started yesterday.
Oh, it started yesterday. Okay.
And we were going to start on Step Lane, was going to be our first road. However, the Veranda House has a bunch of furniture and stuff coming in still. I was in the building the other day talking to the super and trying to coordinate, because I don't want us to go in and tear up both sides of the road to put the new sidewalk in if they're going to have some big trucks coming in. So they're having a bunch of furniture delivered this week. So we started up on Center Street by the church, and we're headed down towards the American Seasons. And I got to say, I don't know if you've been in or anyone's been in it yet, but the Veranda House is beautiful. It is something else.
Yeah. I haven't been in yet. I've been waiting patiently. And I'm eager to see what they've done. But the renderings that they submitted looked great. So looking forward to that. Thanks, David. I just wanted to just highlight those little spots that are going to be closed on.
Yeah. Garrison?
And then to piggyback on that, Chantal, thank you. Because we're visitor services and there's many hotels in that area, I've had a few people approach me about the work that's happening there and zero notice on the work and how they're relocating guests right now because they didn't have any idea what's going on. So I guess the question I have to you is that Center Street Road, is it going to be a staging area again this year for everything that's happening down even Lily Street and up on Liberty Street? Or once you're finished with those curbs, is that you guys are out?
That's it, pretty much it. With the only staging that's going to be done on Center Street this year is just for the sidewalk restoration, and we have a real challenge on Center Street because of the tree in front of the Lily Baker's mother's old house, and further down, some of those trees have just completely disrupted the curbing, and we're working very closely with the tree warden and everyone to not return them to flat, but to take and get them so they're not as treacherous. We've even had people want us to put the curbing back crooked the way, and yeah, I get it, but it's a safety issue and concern, so we can't. But we're going to take in, the Historic Commission has got a big magnifying glass right over the top of us, so we had to document every single piece of curbing, every block, every brick, so we have to put it back exactly as it came out.
So are you anticipating to do both sides of that street or just the right side as you're?
Originally, we were only going to do the right side, but the other side had some where we had to go in and put new sewer stubs. So now we're going to bring that other side back to the best shape that we can without altering its existing footprint. And look, we're just going to try to bring it back so that there's a couple of spots there that I don't know how people can walk around it, but so it's, and I'm surprised at some of the hotels because they had a lot of notification from us, including door to door by my staff. So
that started on Friday is what I was told.
Oh, well, we've been emailing everyone for quite a while now. So, but
thank you.
All right. Any other questions? David, thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy. You don't have to stay on for the rest of our business meeting, but I truly appreciate it. If there's anything that you feel the committee can do, Chantal, David, don't hesitate to let us know.
Well, if you ever have anyone that's bored and is looking for something to do for an hour or so, you can always send them out for a tour. I mean, it's quite fascinating. I think a couple people on the panel may have been through there, but it's amazing what goes in and comes out. So,
Um, I will suggest that to the garden club. They're always looking for tours.
all righty. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, David.
Bye bye.
Okay, moving along. Next item on the agenda, director's report.
Alrighty, I have a pretty light report for you guys. My placer contract is still held up and surprisingly for the first time, it's not on the town's end. We usually take forever with contracts, but it's actually on placers and I don't know what his official title is, but the person that was previously assigned to our account has since moved on. So that's kind of slowed everything up. There were some discrepancies in the contract dollar amount and the invoice dollar amount. So paperwork. So I'm waiting on them to fix that. I actually sent them an email last Thursday of a little nudge in hopes that I could kind of hurry it along, but still waiting. Outside of that, we are currently conducting interviews for that special events and cultural affairs coordinator role. I was pleasantly surprised to see that we got 30 applicants.
Wow.
Which, I mean, that absolutely blew my mind. And it's hard. I don't know if I've ever had this many applicants for any job in any of my roles before. So, and they were all so highly qualified. I'm like, can we just create 30 of these positions and hire all of them? So we were able to narrow it down to 6, and we'll be doing, we're going through the first round of interviews now, and after the last one's on Thursday, we'll see how that goes, if we need to do a second round. But it's hard. And we're in our cultural council grant cycle. That closes on October 16th. So far, we have 4 submitted applications, and I checked this morning to see how far along the others are, and we have 4 that are in draft. 3 seem like they're ready to just click submit on. I'm assuming those folks are probably just reviewing it one more time. And one bit that has me a little nervous are the first quarter rooms tax numbers that came in, that are down significantly, looking at the numbers for June, July, and August. So I'm hoping to connect. I just found that out yesterday. I'm hoping to connect with finance just to talk through that a little bit more and look at the other tourism related tax dollars that come into the town to see how those are, what changes there are in those. Because if it's down this much in the first quarter, that's cause for concern. So that's
Agreed.
the summary of what I'm working on.
Well, I think we've had David will give us his numbers in a minute, but I think there has been a lot of people here. So I think that's, that's a good thing for retail business and downtown as well. But anything else, Chantal?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. David?
Okay. I gave you guys the numbers for the third quarter, specifically for September. We had a very strong September, very busy, with 6,709 people between the 3 locations. The main office, which had 3,889 people, which is higher than last year and strong overall. The Strait Wharf was very busy, and the airport was also busy. Just so you know, the airport desk is no longer manned for the season because our staff has moved on. But I'm down there putting stuff in, updating every few days. So there's stuff out there if anybody needs any info. And Strait Wharf is going to stay open through about October 15th. And overall, are starting to lose staff. Everybody's going home or going away for the winter. It's still busy, and and the weather's great, and at some point we'll probably start closing, like Sundays in late October, early November, and so forth. But we'll be open year round, at least Monday through Friday in the winter. So that's really all I have at this point.
David, any feedback on Restaurant Week?
Not really. We had a lot of people ask about it, and the other thing that I actually mentioned this to Peter Burke yesterday. The food truck event that was supposed to be at the fairgrounds. I kept looking around yesterday for any updates on it, and because it was raining and you don't want food trucks outside. But at the last second, I heard that they had a couple of the vendors went and they opened up the restaurant. So they were one was in the restaurant in the bar area and the other was outside the front door. And the 2 or 3 other vendors didn't show. So it was just no information about, if it was going on or not, rain or shine. So other than that, it just, we had people asking, but really no deep feedback about about it. But people are just busy doing things. So
Okay, that's good. Just curious.
David, you should have asked me about that. They were advertising heavily that it was rain or shine.
Okay.
It would be happening.
yeah, it was just like I was trying to find what the status was, and so anyway, it worked out.
Okay, anything else for David on top? All right, hearing none. Next meeting, let's see, would be November 15th? No, November 12th?
Yes, November 12th.
Okay. And do we have someone to invite, or are we going to chat about it? I didn't know if there was anyone that had been on the
I
list.
think we'll probably have somebody by that time. We'll let you know.
Okay, perfect. All right, hearing any other business? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved by Peter.
Second. Garrison,
Seconded.
thank you. Okay, all in favor? Liz Holland,
Aye.
Peter Morrison,
Aye.
Garrison Beal.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all, Chantal and David. Another good meeting. I think it was great to hear what David Gray had to say. Information that I just was not aware of. So keep finding these wonderful visitors that you bring to this committee, because it's enlightening all of us. So thank you so much. We'll see you in November after Halloween.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.